All right, you want to fight crime? Let's get dangerous.
And yes, it is showtime once again. It is officially now 9:01. And as you could tell, I am back on the laptop, but we'll talk about that a little bit in a few moments here because why? Recovery is pain. That's just pretty much what it is here. And we got already people in the house already talking to me here. And those who are the faithful ones, they know that if you get here before the show starts and I'm by the keyboard, I will have communications and talk to you guys here. But nevertheless, it is that time once again to get the business end of things out the way, such as Stupid O'Clock happening 1 hour in. Well, actually, Stupid O'Clock is happening now. I need to update this graphic here. Stupid Clock is technically happening right now. I don't think there's going to be any more Last Man Standing. I haven't seen any show notifications for that over like the past couple of months here, mainly because the person who ran that show is officially now retired. So they're doing their own thing here. And then that gives you a respite until Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you have Nicholas Tucker and Nevermind the Furthermore. And yes, Comic Book Spectrum will be back here. We're going to have Cliff with us this time here. We're going to have some good conversations, talk about a couple of books that we've been reading. It's going to be a charming time to have. And on that note, that brings us to most people's favorite part of this show here. And I can tell you this, it might be a very short show tonight, but nevertheless, it always starts off with new comic book pickups for the week here. And with new comic book pickups of the week, we got a stack of books sitting right here in front of me here. And I did not bring the box here for I could put them in, but we're going to go through them as we look at things here. I started to pick up a new series here, and it barely caught my attention. And I'm going to give Valiant another try here because last time I read a Valiant book, it was Faith. So this time around, I'm actually starting to read the 12 issues that they came out with Livewire. So right here, I have Livewire number 3, number 4, number 5, and issue number 7. So I'm going to take a look at that series, see if I actually like it. Might end up reviewing it a little bit later here. And hopefully it's some fun reading. I haven't heard much about it. Haven't heard much, a lot of people talking about anything dealing with Valiant outside of the normal books that everybody is now kind of going goo goo gaga and broing over. But, new stuff, when I come across it that catch my attention, I try to give it some love here. We end up from Time Tunnel Collection, we ended up getting a old school 10-cent Tarzan. This was a gift from Time Tunnel Collects here. And then I was able to track one down, and in the spirit of, dare I say, speculation, I was able to find a copy of the original movie adaptation of the very first Supergirl movie. So for those who don't remember, there was a Supergirl movie done back in the late 70s, early 80s. I want to say it was like 82. I could be wrong, and I know my walking database of movies is out there by the name of Parallax Spectre. If I'm wrong, she's going to be like, no, it is this date, this date here. But here it is, the movie adaptation of Supergirl in conjunction to the launch of the new new Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie that's supposed to be coming out this week. And let me see what we got here. We got Matt here to say, I hope everybody's having a good night. I hope so too. 84. I'm trying to think, what's 84? 1984. Okay. Yeah, 1984 Supergirl movie, the original Supergirl movie. Thank you so much, Tori. See, I know people out there got my back here. And then we got a Dark Knight's Death Metal #7. Why did we get this issue? Because technically this is supposed to be, and I don't understand the difference between first appearance and first cameo, but that they say it's first cameo of Yara Flor. And then that's going to get followed up by Demon #15. Now, the good thing about Demon 15 is that we could go ahead. Yeah, that's the one that I like. I like that one where you have, going back to the death metal cover, you have death metal Wonder Woman going back, looking at her. That's more of her golden age self here. So they're doing the whole time thing again. In a weird way, it's almost akin to what Adam Hughes did, but it's not Adam Hughes' work. But it is nice and everything here. But going back to Demon #15, this book is special because of why. We could actually do. Reason we could do that is because this was the missing issue to complete my Volume 1 Demon. So I finally got it in. We could go ahead and kind of sort of celebrate that as a whole here. And Tori is up here saying, yeah, I read Women of Today. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a very, okay, cool. I might have to check into that here. Thanks for the recommendation here. I agree with I agree with that here. I agree with that recommendation. I'm going to try to take a look for it here. And just because we can, we're going to do, as stated before, we're trying to get things down for Volume 1 Wonder Woman. Right here in my hand is issue number 69 from Wonder Woman Volume 1. And no, I'm not going to bring the price tag to the camera because you guys don't need to know how much I paid for it. It is, when you get this old, it becomes pricey, very pricey. So it's not, for me, it's not a brag. It's more along the lines, I got it. I'm happy. Let's leave it alone here. Then we also got Marvel Divas #1. I was missing this one here, and I believe out of the Marvel Divas set, now I'm only missing issue #4. And then we got another copy of Adventures of Spider-Man. Adventures of Spider-Man. Adventures of Superman #500, which is the so-called death issue. So no, yeah, that's the so-called death issue. It has the tribute thing right here, the hollow foil thing, and blah 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 blah. But there it is, Adventures of Superman #500. And Tori is saying, it's like, yeah, you can get the trade for about $10, and she loves Marvel Divas. And then, through our great friend over there at Time Tunnel Collects here, I was able to get some, if I could say, some group deals on some higher grade copies of issues that I already have here. And whenever you could upgrade for reasonable you go ahead and upgrade. And when I say upgrade, we're talking about almost like near mint type stuff here, like a near mint copy of Savage She-Hulk 9, 8. They're out of order, by the way. Sorry about that. 12 and 13. These are like almost like near minty, getting close to like that 9-8 range. And that's not even the least of it here. Like I said, these are what I consider upgrade copies here. So we went from Savage She-Hulk, and now we're going to Volume 1 Spider-Woman. So we got issue 5 high grade, issue 7. I actually got 2 of them. Then issue 13, issue 15, 21, and 23. So we got some higher grade copies now to go in the collection here. And then I wasn't certain about this, however, I found one. And this is a 100-page giant version of Volume 1 Birds of Prey, which is really, really, out of the ordinary, because I know that they did the giant series for Wonder Woman. They did one for Batman, but there was only one that was done for Birds of Prey back in the day. So I finally got my hands on a copy of that. And then we finally got issue number 1 of Fighting Crime in a Future Time. And for those who know what Fighting Crime in a Future Time is, that is the Cops series, the old animated 1980s animated series for Cops here. So we finally got issue number 1, and this is from the 1988 series here, which is pretty nice. And we're getting closer and closer where we can hit the fanfare button for Cops. We're getting closer and closer for hitting the fanfare button, because I'm getting almost there with New Mutants. So we got issue 24, issue 26, issue 27. I got 2 34s here, 34 direct and a 34 newsstand. 86, 91, and we got a placeholder for 98. Yes, that's the facsimile. It is a placeholder. So the way I'm looking at it, because the placeholder is there for 98, technically it is the actual issue, even though it's a facsimile. It's not a first printing, just like how I have to deal with First Cable as a placeholder, because I have second prints, 2 copies of the second printing of First Cable. I don't have first printing for those 2, but technically, because I have them in the collection, I could pretty much go ahead and ring the fanfare button when I get the next 2 that I'm missing here. She said that issue sucks anyway. The same thing I could say for X Factor Volume 1. This is X Factor 134. I believe what I'm missing right now for X Factor is issue number 6, which is First Apocalypse. And then I believe it's 133. And once I get those 2, we can hit the fanfare button, because that will be all of X Factor Volume 1. However, it is that time once again, because I know how people are. We ended up getting a full run of Aeon Flux. So now I have a full run of that here. So we have another copy of issue number 1. I did not have issue 2. I did have a copy of issue 3, so I already had 1 and 3, but I finally got a full run of it, all 4 issues of the Aeon Flux series, which is pretty nice. And then, once again, we got Ghost and Batgirl, all 4 issues of that series here. So there's the issue number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we got a complete run of Ghost and Batgirl. And then only because it's a one shot, Ghost in the Shadow completed. Only it was a one shot, but it is a complete set here. It's like, ooh, ER Flux. Yep. And we're going to furthermore this on by doing we got technically a full run of Sentinels of Justice here. We got the special edition #1. And then here we got Captain Paragon and the Sentinels of Justice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last issue of 6 here. So yeah, for people who know, I do collect the heck out of a lot of AC comics here, and that is worth the time and effort here. The last thing here, yeah, I've been saying this for the longest here, and it finally arrived. It finally arrived here, and we're just going to go through it real quick here. And we're getting close to having a full run of it. And I know some dude bros are going to be like, well, I don't understand that. And the others going to be like, oh, wow. And you got a lot of newsstands too. It is what it is. But here it is. We're going to start off with, it finally came, Barbie #1. My run that I've been waiting for the shop to send it to me here. Barbie #2. There's #3. 4, 5, 6. Now notice these first 6 issues are newsstand. They're in pretty good condition too. Dare I say, with some pressing, I believe they are at least 9 and above. Then we got #7 direct, #7 direct, 8 direct, 9 direct. There's 10. However, 11 is a newsstand. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And you notice the branding for that is sideways. So that's how the cover is, and they put it sideways on that one. Don't know why they did that on issue #24. The 25th special issue here. Another copy of 26. I had a copy of 26 before. 27, 28, 29, and 30. That was the lot that I actually bought off of from that one store. And then in addition to that, we got another newsstand number 38 and 47. So let's just say I had a increase in dealing with Marvel Barbie the way that I did here for the amount of money that I paid for it. And it was not too bad. It's like the first 30 issues only ran me $80. And for everything that I know about this particular series, Marvel Barbie and Barbie fashion is very hard to collect. You cannot really find it in the wild very much here. So I'm on the tail half of both series now. So from like, I think with Barbie, I'm getting close to like having from like 1 through like issue 40 and just missing like the last 20 something issues, and the same thing for Barbie Fashion, like the last 15. So, it was a good pickup, 1 through 30 for both series, $80 a piece. Can't beat that with a stick here. So that brings us to the updates here. And like I said, I had a chance to update graphics. Have not found much Film Force in the wild, but I've been finding a lot of other great AC comics here in the wild. So I'm getting close to completing things like Good Girls Art Quarterly, Film Force Up Close, and all this other stuff here. But the later Film Forces after issue 100 are just hard to find in the wild. As far as Ghost is concerned, I have not found anything that is 100% just her, but I've been finding a lot of the team up issues and been picking up that here. As far as Spirit is concerned, I have a Spirit the Magazine issue number 16 coming in the mail, which means that I'm down to 3. So that's pretty good here. As far as Uncanny X-Men, from the one that started from 1963, is pretty much the exact same thing here. As you can see, we picked up a issue number 69, so this graphic does change a lot. We're now at 105 issues before we are 100% complete with volume 1. And the X-Men, I still have to do some more digging. I found some more volume 5 in storage, so I just have to get a more accurate count as far as what is actually missing here. And Tori is saying, Barbie, I thought I was too old to collect 30 years later. I target, it's like, I tried to get it. Yep. It's kind of like one of those things here. It's like, you don't know that you missed it until you miss it. But that's kind of like the thing here. Now, as far as the production update, I got the laptop back up and working here. So I'm putting back on the laptop, things such as the Clip Studio Paint, the Creative Studio 5, Creative Studio 2, for I could have an Adobe Reader that I could use to combine the books and everything. I had to put back on the DOS Studio for I could do my 3D work and everything to that magnitude here. That's why I say I feel so blessed that I was able to get it up and working before the show here. So on Friday, the actual replacement hard drive came in, started working on it and everything. And what's weird is that with all the advanced features that is in Windows 10 and Windows 11, and the fact that I created images of what my base operating needs are, those functionalities just does not work when you really need it. I have 2 different images of Windows 11, one of and Windows 10, and all of them failed. I put the new hard drive in. It went imaged the laptop to what I need. It kept getting a disk failure. When I tried to recover, it wouldn't recover. But eventually, I had to do a clean install. And once I did the clean install, and lo and behold, we're here tonight, back on the laptop here. So it's like I said, if it wasn't for my 9-to-5 job, because I work in tech, for my 9-to-5 job, I probably wouldn't have been on my laptop today. I probably wouldn't have been on there. I'd probably still be going from the tabs. But since I have the laptop up and working now, we're good to go and everything to that magnitude. So that gets into why recovery is pain. Recovery is pain because the time that I'm spending trying to diagnose, trying to figure out what was going on. And like, it's for people who don't know, this is the second time within a 3-year period that I'm replacing the hard drive on this laptop. So that tells me that the overall equipment is still good. So the graphics card, the memory, and all this other stuff is good. But now I kind of have like this big old question mark for solid state drives now, and the reliability of solid state drives. And to be quite honest, the one that I bought last year technically still works, but for some reason, laptop couldn't detect it anymore. I could still read data from it. It was just weird. But the original hard drive that came with the laptop, that is dead. I still have it over here. You know, I'm still thinking that, you know, after from what I've been reading about solid state drives, the one that originally came with it may be technically dead because you could only read and write from a solid state drive only so many times, and there's a threshold that if once solid state drives hits that, it would go dead completely. With the replacement drive that I bought, I don't think that that has been the case here, even though it's been only 1 year. I don't think that threshold has been hit, but the simple fact that I can still read data from it, I can still write some things to it. However, it just seems like the boot directories and all this other stuff is just not there. So I have to kind of like do a few other things to try to get it back up and running, and it wasn't worth the time. So go buy another one, slap that on in there, you know, for the low price of what, $80 again. Well, first time before it was like $30. Put the hard drive up in there. I was like back in business after doing the exact same thing again. Going through a clean install, doing all this other stuff, and taking, you know, almost 8 to 10 hours just to get everything back on. And I haven't even got everything back on as of yet here. But that's the pain. That's the pain. That's the real pain of it, because throughout the last 2 to 3 weeks, there have been no production. I couldn't work on, you know, Legends. I couldn't work on primetime Saturday night. It gave me no excuse not to go and grab it right here. It gave me no excuse to go and grab this here and actually get back to actually drawing on pencil and paper and everything to that magnitude. I mean, the laptop going down, it served a purpose. It did serve a purpose. I'm not going to be like, oh, it sucked and this, that, and the other, because it did. It did suck, but I wasn't completely dead in the water. I had other stuff that I could work on. And I was showing you guys that I was working despite the fact that the laptop was down. But a lot of the other stuff that I normally would do and try to keep up with went to the wayside. A lot of the graphical work that goes into from the desk and from Comic Book Spectrum, I couldn't do. I couldn't do the thumbnails. I couldn't do the advertisement and everything the way that I would normally do, because I don't have Photoshop on any of the Galaxy tablets. I don't have, you know, all the programs and stuff that I could do it off of those tablets and everything to that magnitude. Everything is set up with this laptop. And then I do have some older laptops, and like I said, going back to like Windows Vista, it's just like, yeah, a lot of things that I do now will not run on that laptop. If worst comes to worst, if I have to write scripts and stuff, yeah, I could go ahead, put Microsoft Word on it and just go to town. But it's not the same of having your equipment up and going and ready. And this is the key thing. It's like, for those who really want to know what it's like behind the scenes when you're working in this creative field, when your equipment goes down, it is a pain because of the simple fact that you are leaving money on the table. You are technically not available to do work. You are at a detriment at that point. And until your laptop or whatever piece of equipment is repaired, you got to find workarounds. You got to find those things that would help you out. And to be quite honest here, you know, the more Bristol boards that I did, the more sketches that I did, I couldn't do anything else because my scanner over here is connected to the laptop. The printer over here is connected to the laptop. If the laptop is not running, I can't translate and manipulate and go ahead and do things like the inking, the coloring, and all this other stuff that needs to be done. And if worse comes to worse, you have to then think about, well, if I outsource it, do I actually have the money to outsource this information, to outsource it correctly to get it done? And that becomes a bigger drain on the pocketbook, especially if you're, most of the stuff that you do is kind of like your one man army unit. Fortunately for Amazonia, that's the only series that I have other people that actually does like the coloring and editing and a couple other things for it. As long as I am able to draw it. And the same thing with AWF. There's other people that do touch it, but when it comes down to primetime Saturday night, without having the laptop or having a laptop that can deal with the 3D rendering, I'm dead in the water. Same thing with Legends of the Giant Slayer. I'm kind of dead in the water. Yeah, I could do, a Bristol board issue if I really wanted to, but it wouldn't be the same. It really wouldn't be the same. But maybe you guys would like something like that. You gotta let me know in the comments and everything if you want a hand drawn version of those books here, or do a hand drawn issue of one of those books. And it would be interesting because the way that I look at it, it becomes more and more taxing. And because I like things such as backgrounds that controls the mood of the settings and everything for those titles, it becomes a nightmare for me to kind of draw and make certain that if I do get it, other people to color and stuff like that, that they understand what they're doing here. But it is what it is for that aspect here. But that's the, it's kind of like the pain. And then, putting back on the software, making certain that you have all of your serial numbers and license information, and going pulling that back up and putting it in, and making certain that those things are still active. And then with certain software, you have to go back and be like, oh yeah, I do have a license for that, and I have to revoke it from the computer name that I had before and put it on this one. And it becomes a pain. It really is a pain. It's a time sink. So if you are a one-man army and you have equipment, you have to be mindful and make certain that you keep your equipment up here. And it was just, to me, it was very unfortunate that the laptop died the way that it did, because it was working perfectly fine, and all of a sudden it's like I was getting all of these weird, cannot find boot device errors. And I was like, why are we getting that? This is a brand new drive. It hasn't been even a year old. And like I said, one thing led to another, led to another. It's just like, you know what? For the sake of time and effort and trying to figure stuff out, buy a new one, slap it up in there, move forward. And that's pretty much it here. And with that, it's like it was like we might have just like a 30-minute show here, unless you guys got something else to talk about, because that has been my main focus over this past week, is just to get the laptop up and going. I got through finished reading Daddy's Little Girl, and for those who are watching Comic Book Spectrum this past Thursdays, I wasn't digging it, and after reading it, I know why I'm not digging it. And it's not because it's a horror. It's not because it's supposed to be a horror thing. I don't like it because of the culture and how the characters are in this particular title. But I will explain that a little bit more Comic Book Spectrum here. But I open the door for you guys. If you got comments, questions, and everything, let's have at it. If not, we just going to go ahead and wrap it up, because that will give me time and opportunity to get other stuff installed back onto the laptop, such as DOS Studio, and getting all those resources installed. And when I say all those resources, we're talking about getting close to like a couple of 100 gigabytes worth of data that have to be I want to say it's not really reinstalled, because I have it on this portable drive. But the thing about it is that the way the program is set up, it has to have a database of that. I have to redo that whole database, because since I had to do the reinstallation from scratch. Again, I shake an angry fist at Microsoft and how they do their system their system imaging. I have 3 images and all 3 of them failed. I just don't understand. I just don't get it. But nevertheless, here it does not look like anybody else have anything to say. So I will call this a very short week here. So that means my East Coast people will have most of their Saturday still left here. Wow, they would have a lot of their Saturday. They got over an hour. They were going to have over an hour here because I already went 35 minutes here. So as I would say, live life, grow, be well. And we are out for another week here because why? We're still trying to recover the laptop. We're still trying to get everything back up and running before we can rock and roll and get more and more pages together for things such as Legends of the Giant Slayer and get issue number 6 done for primetime Saturday night, and while still working on the Amazonia stuff here. So until next week, goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And well, oh, I forgot. We are going to have a 4th of July. I just really realized 4th of July is Saturday. We're going to have a 4th of July show. Now, the question here is, how do we do fireworks for something like this? I don't know. I'll think about it. But we're probably going to have something that's a little bit more patriotic. We'll probably end up talking about either like Sam Wilson or Steve Rogers or something that is real patriotic or something to that magnitude. Talk about patriotic characters and everything. But until then, live life, grow, and be well. And we're out. See you next week right here on For the Dust of a Small Press Publisher.